You are about to receive messages that may be harmful to your mental state. Your sense of reality will be questioned. Your view on things will be altered. You are now part of the Meta. The Meta controls everything. The Meta determines what will and will not happen. You are watching The Meta Show.
And
we're
we
live!
are live!
Yay! We're live! Woo!
Hello, hello, boys and girls. It's good to be back. It's been some time now since I've been on a Meta Show.
Yeah, you were gone. You, like, abandoned us in our time of need. But that's okay.
I know. I'm terrible like that. What can I say? So, wow, we've got a big crew today. We got Jay Amazingness, Sadis,
Yeah.
Moomin, and Bowden myself, which means clearly absolutely nothing is happening in EVE Online.
Yeah, absolutely nothing. There's nothing at all. Nope, 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 not at all.
Wow. Yes, the wrong person has red on. That is true. DBRB is wearing red today. I am not, because...
Hold on, didn't we have a civil war earlier on in the week? Is that partly to do with that?
Well, you were
Could
black the
be.
last Meta Show, too, so maybe you're in mourning for the loss of all the NC ships that are about to happen.
God.
I'm wearing the red and black thorax. Kind of just fucking
I swore I wasn't gonna smug on the Meta Show.
That's alright, I'll smug for you, don't worry.
hard. Okay.
You guys are amateurs. I'm wearing nothing.
Yes. I'm not even gonna comment on that. Okay.
All right. Well, nobody in the Imperium should be watching this anyway because we're all totally going on an op that is, of no real relevance. That isn't going to be anything. So, yeah. Hopefully, maybe we'll be able to rescue our supers that are still
stuck at
trapped in
93 DI.
93 DI.
Well, we haven't got to that part yet. We have to get there. We haven't got there yet. We haven't got to the point of saving them. That's the next thing.
Man, well, I'm gonna plug Imperium News here actually.
Yeah,
for
go
a
ahead,
second,
please.
because we haven't had a chance to do that in a bit. It is Space War now, so there's never been a better time to write or stream or dev or do something cool and creative for the Imperium News network. The team has been doing a great job reporting on all of the Space War that's happening, which is, I'm sure, making a lot of people from PL and NC who care more about the Alliance tournament upset. But yeah, so if you're interested in volunteering to be a writer or to get involved in the effort of pure truthiness that is Imperium News, there is, just hit us up, apply. You can go to the website and figure it out yourself. And if you can't figure it out yourself, well, then you really weren't all that motivated.
Yeah, let me tell you about this whole war thing. But before we jump into our top story, we're going to talk about our guests. Today, our guests are the best of the guests that we could find, and that is Sadis, Moomin, and Jay Amazingness, all wonderful Imperium directors here to talk about Imperium, because this show's all about Imperium, because that's all we're going to talk about today. So why don't you guys take turns to introduce yourself. We'll start with Sadis here. Hi, Sadis.
Hey, how you doing today? Glad to be here. I am formerly Black Hand Director, and I am currently thoroughly enjoying our trip north. It is a fantastic trip. It was really good to see how many people we brought north, and watching people crumble before us has been nothing but enjoyable so far. So really happy to be here and looking forward to the show.
Yay! So what do you do in the Imperium now? Like, what is your space job?
Mostly it's OPSEC. I do corporate recruiting, and in general, I am the most lovable person.
The most lovable. That's a great title to have.
That is a good title. It's like better than being a morale officer. I mean, it's just all of the love surrounds Sadis, which makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
All right, and of course we have Jay and Moomin. Always good to see. Making Jay talk is always fun because he hates talking, but he's always a guest on the show.
No, he was guest host last week, and he barely talked at all. Even though I tried not to talk, he would just like sit there and be like, silence. It was very difficult. It made it very hard. Wow.
It was a good show last week. I don't know.
I know,
what
I
was
love
wrong
the
with it.
show.
I enjoyed myself.
Midge, you weren't here, but Troy told us that they were bluing solar and resetting everyone else and going back to their roots last week. It was glorious.
So I hear that some stuff happened in Eve.
Some stuff, yeah. That's how we're gonna move to our top story by clicking this button right here.
Yes, it's not OPSEC.
Yeah. So today's top story is literally titled "The Imperium Rises," and
Oh, God.
The reason I call it that is right now in Hakoden there are 1,550 Imperium waiting. Sans initiative, actually, because initiative's off blowing up another region, but we'll talk about that later. But yeah, 1,550
That can't
people.
be true. We're not allowed to have more than 200 people in a fleet, Jeff.
No,
Rader
it's
said.
okay. It's 199 per fleet. There we go.
We limited it. That's it. 6 fleets.
Fearless
precise
Leader
stuff.
found us a loophole. So Fearless Leader found a way. He is a lawyer by trade.
That is true. Imperium Rising. That sounds like a Viagra ad. I want to give a shout out here also because we got a resub in the earlier phase. Thank you, Diesel 1950, 1975, 9 months.
We had
Excellent.
so many subs last week. It was ridiculous. We had like 50. Oh, it was crazy. At least it felt that way anyways with every pop-up that came up. But yeah, this week's topic, of course, I titled it Imperium Rises because, well, it's the first time 2 days to the year that the Imperium is back north after the Mitanni's vaunted move to Delve for Delva's goons. I believe it's according to Moomin's article, today is the second day, so 2 days, since we've been back north. Ah, so good. It's been so long. But
We're here for good fights.
We're just here to.
Did we plan to make it literally a 1 year to the day when we came back north?
I don't think so.
These things just sort of happen.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit off. I think it was the latter part of August that we made the call, so that's when Mittens did that. But it was close enough that I'm thinking, well, we've done a huge amount in a year, realistically, if you look at Delve. I mean, it has been a really good journey.
Busy year, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's actually been kind of hilarious because, we spent all of the winter dealing with lovely Russian drama, and now we're spending the summer up north. It's like the opposite.
Yeah. The fact is that, like, I just got bored. I mean, the wretched peace is I can only handle so much peace, and Fazisov tried to basically force war in this game into being something that was only about taking territory, and it's miserable. Nobody wants to do it.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that we finally achieved enough economic power and sort of capital and super capital mass, that we could do the same sort of thing that our enemies have been doing for a long time.
Yeah, so the players here, for those wondering what's going on, the Imperium has gone to war. It is officially announced on Wednesday during a State of the Goonion brought to you by Mitanni himself. The players for this war are currently Goons versus NCMC. We have Test fighting Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, we have unconfirmed reports that it's about good fights, but who knows. And then Initiative versus Poitot. And I say Initiative versus Poitot because everyone's leaving Syndicate as soon as Initiative arrived. And to help get you caught up on the last year of things and what's going on, our wonderful guest Moomin here wrote a great article called "Who Said the the Casino War is Over." It's a great read. I read the whole thing. It's pretty long. The comments are great because it's an op-ed. It's literally his opinion, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's biased. It's biased. It's biased." Well, of course it's biased because Moomin is great. Moomin, why don't you tell us about this lovely article, please?
Well, it was something that. I love stories. I think that they're like great fun to have, but and it's the stories that we create in game are the thing that is really attracting to new people like coming through to Eve. So I think that us having a little bit of a stretch of our legs, and we've been working ever so hard for the last year. Peace is hell. War is definitely my preferred state. So I'm absolutely loving this opportunity to get out, stretch our legs, blow the cobwebs out, train new people, do all of those sorts of things. And, the video from Toddy was just absolutely brilliant. I love that bit. We had the song from Ungar as well. I really enjoyed that. I actually listened to that more than once. And yeah, I mean, it's like we've produced some great stuff. The video where it's just literally 5 minutes of capital ships just going to that gate and jumping through is just a glorious thing to behold. And now what we're going to do is, because obviously, we learned a tremendous amount last year during the Casino War. And, I'm sure that we've got some very interesting surprises to happen in the future. And I'm really looking forward to testing it all out.
just love the way how you say interesting. It's so good.
It is kind of curious how all this has gone down. I mean, in 11 years of history of Goonswarm Federation, we have never deployed anywhere and kept it a secret. Not once. It was extremely odd to give the State of the Union and have to strip out of the speech any direct references to who we were going to attack, because
Right.
usually by now, a couple of days before a speech like that, due to espionage, almost everybody knows where everybody is going. So I thought it was curious to see the impact on the EVE strategic metagame when such a large force moved and nobody knew where it was going. I think you just saw panic across the galaxy.
Well, I
To be fair, you did give it up when you said we were going north, so that was a mad leak. So you were, in fact, the only leak that I saw.
But
it's like I know the reason why it didn't get leaked. It's
Why?
because of the massive brain drain that we had last year that everyone was talking about, where we lost all of the talent and we're obviously
that's right.
crippled.
So all,
Really?
all the True Goon directors unfortunately went to go work for Pandemic Legion, and so it was very easy for us to keep things secret because we have no brains and no talent and no ability to do anything now.
Right. I think the best thing about this was kind of like the Test move when Test went up to MTO. It's like everyone's watching it going, are Goons going to take a left or are they going to take a right? Okay, if they take a left here, they're going to Fountain. If they take a right, they're not going to Fountain. Okay, what's next? They take a left here, they're going to Syndicate. They take a right, no, they're not going to Syndicate. And that's how it felt with the Test move. As Test was going a long-ass way to MTO, it's like if they take a left, they're going to FCON. They take a left here, they're going to Solar. If they take a left here, they're going to Tri. Oh, they passed all three of those. They're invading the DRF. Wait, they're blue to DRF, That's how it felt like with our move when outside members are watching.
My favorite part of it is people were messing with them, and that there were actually 3 or 4 capital paths taken. So you would see various spies just lighting up, saying, "Oh, they're going," but none of them were right, which made it even better.
Nobody expected us to go after NC Dot, which is kind of funny because our default state in EVE Online is to kill NC Dot, to conquer NC Dot. It was the same when they were Bob. This is pretty much like in my mind, one of the most predictable places for us to go, but it seemed like Tribute's defenses, the ADMs are shit, the Sotias don't even have rigs. One of the Sotias has a rig. But, whatever. Nobody thought that anybody would go after PL or NC Dot. I mean, shocking.
It's
Hubris.
Hubris? Why would you say that?
On their part, it's hubris. Like they seem to think that nobody would ever actually go gunning for them because they're small and elite and whatever. I guess they can have Pandemic Horde wipe their asses for them a while, but Test is busy turbo fucking Darkness, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Pandemic Horde. So strategically speaking, it was just like there's just big empty space on the map, and nature abhors a vacuum.
So turbo fucking, is that a technical term for exacting a well thought out war? What does that term actually mean?
I actually have no idea. Let's see. I'm trying to also do the meta show while monitor the strat ops at the same time, so I apologize if I seem a little bit corded up. It's interesting.
So an interesting thing here too is Test is currently on its move up, which has 700 people in local. They've announced that they are moving out of MTO2 and quite possibly right into Venal. And as we speak, Guardians of the Galaxy have parked all of their supers that they can muster, dreads, carriers, supers, right on the gate that the Test will have to pass through to get there. So Test might end up plowing straight into a super blob. And then at the same time, there's a Sinojammer that just went online in PBD where that Sotoyo is, that we're going to talk about here in a moment. And there are a lot of avatars on the gate. A lot of avatars, like 60. Maybe even more, I don't know. I can't count
Oh,
them.
it's,
60 Titans.
Little Titan fleet they've got themselves. I mean,
That's
it's not
adorable.
big, but I mean,
No, it's not that many Titans, so it's actually less. But yeah, it's
I think
interesting.
adorable.
I think it's
I
adorable, too.
don't think they should be ashamed of it. It's how you use it. It's not how big it is, right? That's what I've heard girls telling other people.
Speaking of that, that moves on to the next thing. So about the move. So as we announce our move and make our move, we're hitting MC and NC, and we moved between 3 different time zones in 3 different days, almost 2,000 capitals. And that's individuals. That's not like someone went back and got another capital and started moving it. That's just 2,000 individual capitals, according to our guy that did all the metrics scanning. That's fucking ridiculous. That's not subcaps. That's just pure dreads and carriers and faxes.
I think that's a good start.
Yeah, and so I just descanned the gate. They have 121 apostles, 89 titans, 88 super carriers. That's pretty cute. That's really
I think it's going to be funny. I said this on the Fireside Chat earlier, and this is something that our viewers and our allies and our enemies should expect. Our move was very secret, but our policy, our strategy now is not secret. Our people in the Imperium are mostly people who play on weeknights, right? Our enemies historically really like to do these big weekend set pieces. Now, it's true that we do have 1,600 people playing EVE Online today in Hakonin. We did have kind of a big Fireside Chat. But in general, this is not how we intend to play this game. Like, we are out here. Our enemies want to ball up and have lots of fun on weekends. We want to make sure that our enemies do not have fun and that they are punished for their various crimes and bad posting. So, in general, most of the action from us on the offense should be happening on a weekday. So, the fact that we have these huge form ups and all these things are happening on a weekend is just kind of like oops, well, we have 5 fleets, and I guess we'll go find someone to do with it.
Right, and the thing that's interesting about this, too, when you look at this, this is, like you said, a weekend, everything they have, and they've only got 425 between PL and NC. That's not a lot of dudes, especially when it's all supers, capitals. They don't move around very easily. It's going to make hacking a pretty enjoyable experience, because for the first time in the North, we are the offense, not the defense. You know, back then, we were the defenders, having to run around all of Tribute, having to run around all of Vale. It'll be interesting to see how they handle this.
So all the people that they've been treating so badly for the last year and kind of stepping on, are they really stepping up for them, or is it literally just NC and PL who are stepping against them?
That's a good point, because on this game right now, it's only PL and NC, not a single other person.
Well, it's because all the Guardians of the Galaxy guys are trying to block test. I'm guessing Horde is there. I have no idea where Horde is. I guess I could look at the feeds over here, but
I think you'll find that Horde are actually still trying to do their Citadel high-sec extortion racket that they're being very focused on. But they seem to have headed back a little bit more to the north now and centralized there.
Is that the Horde Viceroy program?
Yes, that is the Horde Viceroy program, I believe.
wow.
I heard that there's a book about it.
Alright, so real quick, I just linked in chat here, the timeboard.net, that's how Tribute is burning, 3rd day in. All of NC Dot's shit's reinforced as of the 3rd day on deployment. Again, this brings us back, we'll have Jake comment on this. You mentioned that this is the first SOGG where you didn't announce the enemies, and that's an interesting point, because we remember notable tests announcements of war where they're like, we're going to war, we'll see you in 2 weeks. You know, at least it wasn't that this time.
Yeah, I mean, we immediately headed off. I mean, we had to head north. We obviously had to go north because there's no south when you're living in Delve. But it is just curious to me that nobody seemed to like just if you look at the Sov map, right? The lack of defenses in Tribute are it's just amazing, right? Like if you dig a little bit deeper beneath the surface layer of the TCUs, all of the MC territory, those are just TCUs. Underneath it, it's all OSS iHubs, and those can only be defended by 267 characters in the OSS Alliance. We got slightly higher ADMs than the rest of Delve and Vale. But we've pretty much just told our people it's open season in terms of harassment hacking through, I'm sorry, I should say Tribute and Vale. Open season through Tribute and Vale. Hit the Renters, hit PL, hit NC Dot, hit them all. Like, they've left everything open, so we might as well set it on fire.
Like the Mad King, burn it all.
Burn it all.
So Jay, the question I lead, and I just like the Killboard here, is you're a member of Theta, you're a member of our illustrious FC team. According to the statistics, as we were walking out the door of Delve, telling everyone to pack their shit up, we're going to invade the North, we've lost 49 Oracles, 11 Supers, and a Titan. What do you think about this? Like, being able to write this off because we're so powerful that we can just say, okay, 50 Oracles is fine. Well, we have 300 or 400 remaining. What do you think of this, Jay?
Jay,
I think it's kind of funny. You think we only have 400 roll calls.
I think it's like Warren Buffett loses $100 or someone who works at McDonald's loses $100.
Well, the other thing is that roll calls aren't alliance assets. Like, people like to talk about whaling, and that's funny, but it's basically just like blowing up somebody's capital level mining barge. Like, we don't reimburse Rorquals, so like somebody loses a Rorqual, it's like, well, that's kind of funny. Somebody loses a Ratting Carrier or whatever.
If I was to be sad about anything, I'd be sad about the super losses. But looking at the fits, they weren't like
They were ready fits.
fit
Right?
how I told them to be. Yeah, they were running fits.
They deserved
So
it.
it's not even like I care about them. It's like we didn't have the right fits anyway. So I mean, you probably didn't go on ops.
Yeah, and an interesting thing I noticed too, when you compare this, I saw a good analogy of this week on Reddit, surprisingly. It's like a shipping corporation losing a bunch of shipping container vessels to a storm isn't going to affect U.S. level trade as a whole, right? That shipping corporation is going to lose a couple of ships. It's going to cost them a bunch of money, but U.S. shipping is still going to continue around the world, right? It's not going to slow it down. So I don't see why Horde has been using this as like their cheering point for a week now. Guys, look, we're doing things. We're relevant. We're doing things, and it's kind of sad when you compare it to what happened yesterday. They had 9 strategic pings by Killer Bee for Horde to be ready to form up. We're going with Macarials, 9 different pings over a 12-hour period, and they formed 200 Feroxes, came over, Titan Bridge Tome. Like, what?
They did.
How does that work?
They tested Chase Hurricane Fleet around a little bit after they lost a bunch to it, I think.
I love how you just went dyslexic there. You tested a Chase Hurricane Fleet.
Like, that's something.
Yes, it's hilarious though, because I mean, imagine if we did 10, 11, 12 pigs over a 24-hour period to be ready, and then like nothing, just dead.
Well, I mean, it's tough. Like, right now, the biggest challenge that we have in Hakonen, and I might be jinxing us, but clearly
Right.
the most challenging foe has been tie-dye. I mean, whenever we undock, like right now, we've got 1,500 people in Hakonen. We're going to go try to do a thing. And, you know, I'm sitting there going like, the enemy is formed up to defend against what we're planning, but will we make it out of our undock?
Yeah, that happened yesterday too. It's like the most difficult enemy was time, just the amount of undocking, like how long the tie-dye took. It was like, okay, if they go to come here, they're gonna get here pretty quick because the system's full tie-dye, and then tie-dye just magically went away, and a bunch of us crashed. It was kind of hilarious.
Yeah, I really don't know. I'm curious to see how this goes all the way around, because we weren't really expecting things to start kicking off until next week. We have some other plans and things like that, which are not public, but we didn't expect the Galaxy to run screaming. Let's talk about Sword Dragon humiliating himself for a bit, because I think that's
I
fun.
didn't include this, but go ahead. I didn't know if we should include this. I guess it got posted to Reddit, but I couldn't find it on Reddit. They might have deleted it. But go ahead. Please tell us about this one.
Oh, well, I mean, basically, Sword Dragon, what is it, Jay? Like, they moved 3 times in the last week now, I think?
Oh,
Yeah, when Test moved to MTO, they deployed a Keepstar and WLF. And they moved all their dudes there. You spent like 3 to 4 days moving. All their dudes there, got market up, seeded contracts, all that stuff. And then Test say they're moving, staging in a couple of days. And we moved the same day. So one day a massive thing happens. They move back to CCP US. And then today, Piggle says Test are doing a move up. That was yesterday. Test saying they were going to do a move up, and they're going to focus on GOTG a bit more. And they redeploy back to WLF.
Yeah, I got the link right here.
Couldn't you really say that this is Sort doing a lot of leadership? He's leading them to a place. It's kind of like Moses in the desert. I think he's doing a fantastic job.
Here's a link to the image that sums up what Sort's done the last week. It's glorious. But even better, too, was when we moved north, Sort made a call that I think is going to go down as kind of comical. Oh, here we go. According to chat and according to my character watching, local just dropped by 700 in test staging, and they did not go through the gate. They went to Kavala Expanse. Where's Test going?
I actually don't know, because
I don't know
despite
either.
was thinking that like we are working closely with Test, like we're basically, I mean, it's entirely possible that like Goonswarm and Test will have a really good relationship as long as we are on the other side of the galaxy attacking the same targets, right? Like I'm not really
Right.
sure how well like being neighbors would work, but like going like, oh yeah, those guys are over there and they're doing something that we agree with, and vice versa. That way there's less friction. But like I have no idea what Test is up to.
Yeah, I'm
Does this
interested
mean-
to see it.
Does this mean we can expect another Darkness deployment?
But here we go.
More
Here-
than likely, and I mean, it was for me particularly interesting to see in Salt Dragon's little alliance update how much they were trying to press that narrative of, oh look, it's sort of like, you know, Test and Goons are working together. I haven't got a clue what Test are up to, and I couldn't really, you know, care. I mean, if they're like giving the people that we dislike a hard time as well, then that's cool. But aside from that, I haven't got a clue.
Moment, I've got an update for you. They just dumped the Calvala expanse.
Thank you very much.
the best comical bit about this though is that I asked ProGod last week or the week before, and he's like, "Is there any fights going?" Because I didn't know we were going to war, right? And so I was like, "All right, what's going on?" He's like, "Oh, we're gonna deploy somewhere. Just don't fuck with my move up, and I'll tell you about fights." And then like a week later, we'd announced we're going to war. So it's like, crap. Now I can't go war on all these fights that Test are having. But it's interesting to see what Test does, because that can influence a lot of things. We saw a ProGod Legend thing recently where it said part of his deal with going to MTO2 was that he didn't hit any solve. That was the DRF Blue agreement. They could blue DRF, but they couldn't hit someone else's house. They could go for good fights or whatever. That's interesting and telling. And then the Sword Dragon message where it's like everyone put their cards into Sword Dragon's hand and said, okay, you make the play. And then he folded and didn't hit the MTO Fortizar, even though he had PL Supers backing him up. He called off the op and said how he has to eat humble pie. He kind of stole your word there. I thought that was hilarious.
Well, I agree with that, because I mean, it was wonderful to see in his mail how he was saying that he was in charge of everything and directing NC and PL efforts and everything else like some sort of military genius. I don't know.
It sounds like what Suez claimed to do during the start of the casino war. He claimed to do all these things. It turns out he did nothing at the end.
What, you mean this casino war that is still ongoing? Because we never said it was finished.
All right, moving on. This guy keeps asking who actually watches this. The 400 people currently watching it.
I think he's some random person that I'm just going to purge because.
Good, because I purged someone last week in your favorite. Purged Durhander, and he was so.
He's like,
angry.
who actually watches this? In a channel full of people talking, and it's like, okay, dude, I'll just fucking ban you.
See,
no free speech zone. We have a Ministry of
Commissar.
Communication to ensure that there is very little communication because we have to keep the people safe from communication.
All right,
so basically, that guy's the voice behind the glory hole. We need to get rid of him.
Yeah, so next thing we move on to, and I guess Jay can comment on this because I did not see it happen, but Jay told me about this. NC Dot got whacked again, losing 3 Titans and 5 super carriers. Here's the battle, the Butcher Bill. What the fuck?
Yeah.
According to Vince, okay, so before we go to Jay here, according to Vince Drake, and this is from his words, his FC at that time zone was like, I'm saving Sinofuel, we're gonna take a gate. When apparently Vince dropped 2 Astra Houses so they could not take that gate. And then they die. What do you think about this, Jay? Him throwing his FCs under the bus on this one.
I thought it was quite funny. I was out at dinner last night, and my phone started like I got like a bunch of texts and Skype messages, and I was like, oh, someone's feeding super. So I'm like, oh god, we're feeding again. Assuming it was us, but apparently it was the Initiative and Snuffbox and Project Mayhem working on an NC.MoveUp that Svenda was running.
I think that the most important question for me, though, Jay, is given the amount lost by NC, how much is that in brought calls?
That's about, I'd say it's a good like 21, 25 raw calls.
Yeah, it
in that zone.
Between that
Wow,
kill
a
mill
lot.
and the Erebus and all those apostles, I think the scales are pretty balanced at the moment, thanks to the hardworking Initiative Project Snuffbox members. And then next, of course, since we're talking about Imperium Rises, we have to talk about our allies. And I didn't get a chance to get a hold of Sister Bliss. I'd love to have him here. But Initiative managed to reinforce the entirety of Syndicate. When I say Initiative versus Poitot, because they reinforced all R64s in the Syndicate region the second NC Dot retreated north. And also reports are coming in that MC is retreating north. They posted a couple of things saying, look, we're going to go help our Northern Coalition brothers and defend Tribute.
I wouldn't even
abandoning...
think that MC is worth mentioning, to be honest with you.
Well, you got to talk about, what was it? Was the honor joke?
Make them feel good, I guess.
Well, no, we have to talk about them, because what's going to happen tomorrow, this week, is really big news.
Well, I mean, MC, so far in this war, all that MC has done is run back to Tribute slowly. They're redeploying. They're supposed to be having like an alliance meeting today or something or other to say we're running. I thought it was probably one of the most interesting things was a Q&A that Killa B did the other day when he was FCing Horde, PL's second-class citizens who are so eager to help. But he was basically saying when he wasn't talking about how great it was to be in PL and how maybe Hordelings might possibly at some point hope to be able to join PL, he admitted that the leadership of the former Money Badger Coalition has no plans for something like us attacking them. They're like, well, we don't really have any plans for this kind of thing, so we actually just like react, and like it takes us a few days to figure out what we want to do. And I'm like, what? You mean you have all these regions and you literally have no plans to deal with your main enemies actually coming after you?
Well, let's be honest about it, is they have all of these regions, they have all of this space, but they've been so active trying to stuff it full of renters that, they're probably just focusing all of their efforts on that.
Well, I think it's other, outside of just renters too. I think it goes a step further. And they've been deployed. NC Dot and PL don't live in their own space. They haven't lived in their own space forever since I've known them in 10 years of EVE.
Well, NC Dot lives in Tribute now.
But they always have space that they just don't live in. And you're seeing that with Tribute ADMs, right? Tribute ADMs are appallingly bad. But the reason I bring up MC, and this is a pretty big deal, is I'm inviting everyone that watches the Glorious Meta Show and everyone in this chat to participate in a nice, lovely heist. I'm going to be there. I hope you're there. There's a Reddit post right now of an MC Keepstar on anchoring. Now, they just dropped this Keepstar within the last month. They celebrated the glorious Keepstar dropping in Syndicate. I think it was Shut Up and Shave, an MC, who claimed that he's finally planted his flag in his true home, and it's his home now, and they're already anchoring it. They're already taking it up. The thing hasn't even shot a shot yet. They're already unanchoring it. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but maybe Moomin can help me here on this. If you unanchor a Keepstar and it gets reinforced, the unanchoring pauses. Is that correct?
Oh no, it's like, I'm no good with that, dear. I'm just an F1 monkey.
Maybe someone can. So it cancels the
That'll
unanchor.
be strategic.
Also cancels it if you just shoot it with like one dude, so they can just they can keep that Keepstar there forever if they want to.
Oh, that's so good.
You can
That
shoot it
is
with one
so
dude
good.
and do this. Take it once and then.
And so they could
No.
never move it if someone really
They
wanted to
can just-
keep it there.
Oh, you know, or they could kill it, I guess, while everyone else is off
Okay.
facing off the knees.
Yeah, I mean that's the only reason I bring up MC is Keepstars are pretty big deals. When they die, they can be worth hundreds and hundreds of billions. We saw that one in Wormhole Space be worth trillions because all the loot fell out of it. We saw a couple of really expensive things happen recently, like that Keepstar that CO2 lost. So it'd be interesting to see what happens with this Keepstar. I don't think anyone's ever stole one. So I don't think, because you have to use a freighter to carry it. Like, you have to have a freighter. Nothing else will hold it. And it would be goddamn amazing to see this thing get stolen right out from Suis's face.
So,
you know?
so, Bo, if I'm going to understand, are you suggesting that people bring the hammer for the NC Keepstar?
I'm suggesting that everybody shows up to steal it if it's still unanchoring by the time.
I
It would
really
be
doubt
funny.
that thing is going to be unanchoring effectively. I think that it's almost
Oh,
certain
yeah.
that somebody is going to just tap it repeatedly, so it's just stuck there forever.
Right, or even tap it enough until MC's completely gone, right? They're up north, they're defending Tribute, and then it gets hit. Right? How's NC...
So, like, in a day?
Yeah, right. So how's NC going to protect it when they're still... Like, they're in the middle of bubbles right now in PBD, in the middle of nowhere. So that'll be interesting to see.
Mittens, can I form a new squad called Mini Tap?
Mini tap.
I think it'd be funnier if Suez scooped it successfully and then we killed his freighter with it in. Because you could only
That
scoop it with the
would
freighter.
be much better.
Oh yeah,
That
so
would-
it died without
Yeah.
ever being used. Oh, that would be glorious. But yeah, that's pretty much what's going on right now. Up north is kind of interesting because, again, you mentioned that Q&A. This is a thing that's been going on since Horde was formed, right? They've always been told, you may someday join PL. This is why you're in Horde. And that was the big allure when they first started. But even more so lately, you're seeing their line members. During our move up, I had a character that's been in there about a year now. I had a character watching their Alliance chat and their Discord, and it was just shock. They could not believe how many we had. They were very smug when they went out after Initiative. When Initiative was in Syndicate last time, and they brought, like, I think it was 100 carriers and dreads, and, like, 200 battleships, and they were all smug about how big they were, and how they were this big powerhouse. And then watching them watch our move up, they're like, holy fuck, did they really just move 1,000 dreads? Like, what how's that even possible? It was rather hilarious.
I do remember Vince saying that he had a move up that had almost 500 people in it, and that was cute, especially because it wasn't even a fleet that was full. But you know,
did we hit our biggest numbers on Mumble 2? I think we hit 2011 during the SOTG, or was it the move up? One of the two. That was huge. That was a lot of dudes.
Yeah, it was over 2k people for.
We've had more dudes than that. In 6 VDT, we had, I remember trying to marshal like 18 different fleets. We had 2,400, I believe, for the Battle of 6 VDT.
We had 2,400 characters. I'm talking about like actually on Mumble.
I'm talking about people actually.
Okay. Because someone did the math of how many we moved, and it equated to about 20% of Eve's server. The numbers.
That certainly explains the tie-dye. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when you're moving that many people. And this is an interesting point. We're going to ready to move on here in just a second to some other news. But you look at Eve, this is a clash of style, right? So goons have always been known to use their space the most efficiently as possible. So you cram a lot of people in a small place, make it very efficient. Nobody has any issues. Sans Ranting Drama or Mighting Drama. But it's efficient, right? And then you look at the north as of right now. And this is what goons were before we consolidated. All of the north is spread out. They're all blue. You have people who don't live in Tribute. You have people who barely live in Vale, other than renters. Tino is full of PL Titans and Supers that just protect Oracles and Rat all day. I got dropped on them recently. Branch is renters. Declan is renters and KOS. And then you have Pandemic Horde and Pure Blind, and you have a couple of renters and Fade. Like, it's just all renters. That's all it is. It's like the drone regions with NPC space. I mean, what... How is this what CCP intended to have this space filled with when they sided with the other side of the casino war?
That's quite an inflammatory statement.
Well, it is if you look at the what they called it, World War B. Was it CCP that said that?
That was CCP Manifest.
Yeah. So I mean, when they picked a side in the war, is this what they envisioned the North to be? Like, I would say at this moment, 2/3 of Eve is nothing but rental space.
Well, a couple of things is, first of all, CCP actually called this one the Casino War, the Easter War first. So, you know, that's where they were like coming from. As for the next bit, there was a term that I'd first seen used by Querns, and it's blue trolls. So
The blue
it's
trolls.
like, and I think that's just a stroke of genius, that word.
Good point. So they're blue until PL feels like shooting them.
Pretty much, yes. It's like you have to be neutral, so we can shoot you, but when we need you, you're now blue.
Blue troll. Oh, that's pretty amazing. But yeah, so that's where we're at now. Wow, 40 minutes in. That's a great start. So we're going to jump into our Nullsec Power Hour, and the first thing on our Nullsec Power Hour is going to be Glorious.
Hi, Gloria.
So quick shout-outs. Diesel with 9 months resubscribe. Thank you. Crux Carnus, Twitch Prime subscribe. Penguin Bacon, 11 months. And Lifeender with a $10 donation. Thank you, sir. Yeah, and right off the bat, for Nullsec Power Hour, and even though this isn't Nullsec, it's part of Nullsec. The AT results for today happened. There was some gloriousness in the AT as CCP didn't bother to tell Goon's leader that the flagship was being used. That's apparently a big rule with Alliance Tournament. You have to announce that the flagship's about to be used. So we weren't ready for it. And since we weren't ready for it, we lost all our drones to smart bombs and then proceeded to jump 9 people out of the arena.
It is kind of funny because we're in a situation where normally all anybody would be talking about is the Alliance tournament,
Right.
and it has been completely overshadowed by actual war in Nullsec, which is something that the rest of EVE periodically suggests is not what the focus of EVE should be. But the moment that there is a war in Nullsec, everybody drops what they're doing and pays attention, mysteriously enough.
Yeah, the best way I could describe this Alliance tournament, and I saw a post about this pretty much all week, was when you take away gambling on the Alliance tournament, when you take away good stories with the Alliance tournament. Like, we have a lot of teams I've never even heard of, or a lot of like PL having 4, 5, 6 teams in because they have all these different alliances they're a part of now, like Hard Knocks Citizens. It becomes boring. Like, the only thing I think interesting about today was that somebody wore a gold-plated tie. I thought that was the only.
It's a lot like watching people in the WoW arena. It's just a lot less interesting.
The person dressed in gold is actually known as Bling Tan.
So that was Jintan.
Okay, that's awesome.
I just saw a dude with a gold tie. I didn't know who it was. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's Bling Tang now, so he's changed his name.
Oh, he can afford gold ties, but not to form up fleets to defend his own Satoyos.
Yeah,
And
well,
that's
now we know where
coming up! Wait, Jay!
Good
Jay,
segue.
hold on, Jay!
Good segue. Good segue.
We're going there in a moment. Slow down, man. We're getting to that. Just chill for a second. But Alliance tournament again. Today was notable because Lowsec won a lot. There was a huge streak of winning out of Lowsec groups. Like, Wormhole groups got their ass beat. A couple 0-0 groups got their ass beat. And then things to watch for tomorrow. Tomorrow the Alliance tournament continues. And if you do enjoy watching it, the only 3 matches I could see on here that'll be fun to watch. NC Dot versus Snuffbox. I hope Snuffbox wins this. Snuffbox is pretty famous because their flagship got blown up because their flagship FC got drunk and parked it right in the center of the arena next to 2 Vindicators, and it died very fast. He meant to warp at range, but he was blind drunk and didn't know where he was going. So that's going to be hilarious. Laserhawks, which is relatively new to the Alliance tournament, they're a big Wormhole group, but they're not in the Alliance tournament that often. They're going to be fighting Brightside of Death, and they're doing really well. And then Waffles versus the Ronin. The Ronin beat us, so I want to see them beat Waffles, because that'd be kind of hilarious.
Are we planning on hitting them while their Alliance tournament team is fighting?
Well, we're going to be hitting everything all the time. So, part of the joy of being on pure offense is that essentially we're just like, hey guys, hit all the stuff. Here's a clown shoe. Here's a grist knife. Go hack some stuff. Blow some things up. Go nuts. And so it's been just sort of like a nonstop.
Welcome
purge.
to Fozzie Solve offensive wins. And then the Alliance tournament, it's kind of a meh this year. Like, a lot of, like I said, 30% higher participation last year in the Alliance tournament. This year is kind of meh.
I don't know if that's fair. I mean, Rain is wondering why we are throwing shade here, and the reality is that I simply haven't been paying attention to it because we've been doing war. But apparently there was an Init versus PL round that apparently was pretty cool. I don't know. Is anyone of our guests actually paying attention to the Alliance tournament as opposed to being? If we had Asher, but Asher is busy killing bad guys, running a strat op.
I have been following it quite closely. I particularly liked Rain's joke earlier on involving a Celestis. Well done, Rain.
Well, Moomin, why don't you tell us about what our Allies Initiative have been up to in this tournament?
Oh, in the actual tournament itself. I mean, it's more of a case of, in it, they had their match the other day when they were actually onlining their Keepstar as well. So they fought the match, won that, online to Keepstar. It's initiative have been on fire. What can you say?
Yeah.
But I mean, aside from that, it's like the presentation by Eventi, I have to say, has been wonderful. It's been really good, the streaming that they've done and all of that side of stuff. It's been a good watch. If you like that sort of thing, it has definitely been good to watch. Yes, some of the teams in there probably do conspire a little bit, but they always have. I mean,
Yeah, it was interesting because the 2 commentators I've enjoyed have been Rain and what is that guy's name? It starts with an S.
Sutonia?
Sutonia. I've enjoyed them 2 talking, but everyone else, it just seems kind of forced when they talk, and it just really, I don't know, that kind of gets me. Like I said, when I had them on the show a couple weeks back, it has to be the commentators make or break the Alliance tournament for me. Like, if it's not enjoyable for all of them, I've seen enough spaceships in my day to not really worry about who's fighting who. I want to hear the comedy. I want to hear the screaming, the yelling, and the excitement. And so that I watched a little bit today, like an hour of it, and I was just like, ugh. That's just my opinion.
That's what I
right.
what I liked about Rain's commentary is it was fun, you know, and Suetonia as well was kind of probably overdoing it a bit as well, but it was you know, and it's fun because you could like log in, like watch it, not have a clue of what's going on, and rather than people being overly serious about the whole thing, you can like watch it and it's just an entertaining show as well.
Yeah, so I think go watch it, have fun with it, and there are definitely some commentators that are better than others. Big ups to those who are good, and bad for the ones who are like Howie Long trying to explain football. But anyways, it's good.
That analogy.
Because I can't waste money on it.
Yeah.
Let's move on and
we're gonna move on actually.
Segue, which is we're gonna talk about a massive loss for CVA that happened earlier this week before all the war kicked off.
I didn't even know this was possible, Jay. Like I thought you had asset safety. What the fuck happened?
Well, that doesn't actually cover anything that's in
build. Yeah, if there are holes in build. But what actually was in build was not actually what was in build when it was originally refed. So the dude who owned it was building 5 Titans and a bunch of super. It was basically over $1 trillion Eskin build in there, but he cancelled it after the second reinforce because he knew it was a lost cause.
$1 trillion Eskin build. See, that's why you gotta spread that shit out, man. That's fucking ridiculous.
I mean, you should never really put anything more than like at most 1 super carrier and 1 Titan in build. That's not. I wouldn't do any more than that at any one time.
Well, that and what the fuck? It's CVA. Of course, that shit's gonna get blown up. Didn't their Keepstar get blown up by 1,000 mans? I mean, what does CVA think they're doing building in CVA space?
Well, technically, it's Severance. It's not CVA. It's probably it was a Severance CTO.
I call it CVA and pets because all you have left is like you have like a lot of CVA and then you have a lot of pets, like a little.
There's a little bit more to this story, realistically, which is the guy who had everything in build, even though he is part of like Severance and all of that sort of stuff. He actually helps new players get into things like Supers and Titans and stuff like that. So it was actually a personal loss. It wasn't necessarily a CVA loss. And by all accounts, they are less than impressed with what PL did to them.
That's interesting.
I mean,
if it helps,
I can understand putting that much in build if you live in like way up in T-Null or way in the back dead end of Dronelands, but anywhere else, no one put more than a Super and Titan build.
Right, I mean, I wouldn't even do that in Delve. I mean, as secure as Delve could be, it's still a risk. Like, I mean, Paragon's Soul, that dead end constellation that goes like 12 straight jumps backwards, there would be a cool place. Because you can't stage Dreads anywhere near there. But anything that has jump range straight out of Losec, the fuck are you thinking? You know? what the fuck is he thinking? I don't know. It boggles the mind. It always confuses me when I watch stupidity on that level. Like I mean, I understand helping newbies. There's better ways to help newbies than trillions of IS thrown away at Improvidence. Whew. And so that happened, and I make fun of that. But of course, as we speak of renters, FCON has officially announced for the first time in their alliance's history that they will become renters. FCON has joined the DRF as an official ally of the DRF in a move that can only be described as scared of try. Some of you might disagree on me on this one, but I wholeheartedly believe the second Try announced that they're resetting everyone on the meta show last week and that they're keeping Solar Blue, FCON had to make the immediate move of making Solar Blue and the DRF blue, or they were fucked.
Are you saying FCON doesn't even want to try?
What the fuck? So say this.
Disgusting.
You have a great perspective on like this type of gameplay. Like, what the fuck is FCON doing, Sadis?
I don't know. I'm still laughing at my own joke.
Maybe Mittens, tell me what is this a play seriously to keep ratting? I mean, we've known FCON to be ratters, but is this like a play to keep trying to hit them?
If I can chip in a little bit,
Please,
I mean,
please.
Phoenix Federation is like FCON is supposedly leading that. You look at the stuff that FCON did last year, where they had an agreement with Stainwagon. As soon as they heard that Test and CO2 were like coming south, they then kind of started to reposition themselves where they were going to be on the friendly side of their new neighbours. And ever since, FCON have just been like running around, basically looking to cozy up with whoever they feel can offer them the greatest protection. So when Tried did the reset and said, okay, it's like we're going to do our own thing now. Obviously, FCON was in a very precarious kind of position, so they had to do something relatively dramatic and quick in order to secure their safety.
Yeah, and I agree. I think that's what it is. It's they're protecting what could happen, right? Because, I mean, we're not going to invade FCON at this moment. Like, who the fuck cares about FCON? They live in their space. They don't ever fight anyone. All they've ever done is rat. I think the most I've ever seen them use for super cap numbers is 5. And that was after the fight was over. 30 minutes later, they dropped them in and go, look, we got supers! And they almost lost them then. But that's an interesting thing because, another segue, the DRF has either announced and withdrew, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, an invasion of CO2. This coming from today, when there were almost 500 DRF in CO2's home region, and CO2 formed 300 mans, and then killed their own ratting hell because he failed to show up on a strategic up. They literally went through their space, killing carriers, ratters, anything that wasn't on the fleet. And I'm curious what you think of this, Jay. Like, how would Theta feel if, because we announced the CTA, or Stratop, or whatever the fuck we call it, we just started going through Delve, killing supers, carriers, and Rorquals that didn't show up on the fleet? Like, how would that look?
How would Theta feel, or how would I feel?
How would you feel, and how you think Theta would feel?
I think Gigex is a fucking hero. Gigex, I have a poster of Gigex's portrait on my wall now because of that. Man is a hero. Death for the crabs.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think, as far as I've been in Merchie, I mean, I've been in Merchie, 10 years now? We've always had this thing where it's like, do whatever you want. Like, you want to go on a straight up, go on a straight up. If you don't, don't. And to see Gigex do that, I think I've never seen that done in a modern EVE. It was done back in the day, but I've never seen that done now, and that was,
The best part was, finished the op, and then Gigex deliberately pinged out the CTA is not over, and then went and hunted people. It's not like they found someone.
I know. It was like, okay, we're done with the strat up. The shit's over with. The DRF went home, and we're gonna go hunt the people who decided not to stick around.
People keep asking us why we're not doing stuff to CO2, and it's like, well, we'll deploy against CO2 once Gigex undeploys against CO2.
The other kind of interesting
Gigex has to answer why. Can you stop punching yourself in the face before we spend too much time?
I think the other kind of bit that we're forgetting here a little bit, and I know that Boat loves World War II analogies, so this is right up your street. Think of a place probably about 70, 80 years ago that went to war with a group on the west, because obviously CO2 declared war on the Imperium a few months ago,
Right.
and then kind of didn't do much with that war in the west, and then said, we're now declaring war on the east. What was that country?
You know, it's funny you mentioned that, because I've made plenty of jokes related to that same country and their handling of events in World War II as analogies, and Mittens always just looks at me kind of crazy.
Well, it's a good thing that we had like a subtle Godwinning there, because we are at the end of the hour, and nobody actually took the bait, which is good.
I avoided it there for just a second. But no, it's looking like winter's not here yet. CVA has not become the happy hunting ground yet, but fall is going to be an enjoyable time. Like, it's coming. There's going to be big things in fall. Real quick before we go, we talked about this just a little bit last week, but it was confirmed. Garistas, Titan Carrier, and Fax Machine, I think it's a Fax Machine, faction, are being released. Or Dreadnought. Carrier, Dread, Titan are being released. And you weren't here last week, Mittens, but this thing looks very sexy. It's a Nyx and a Leviathan together. So you get fighters and super fighters, one of each, and you get a giant Titan Leviathan And you get the resistance bonuses of a rattlesnake. So you get like 20% extra shields all around. It's going to be amazing. I am excited.
Interesting.
And that's where we end the show. Like, we're out of time. We got to go.
All right, boys and girls, we got like 1,600 goons. We actually we have sort of a minor crisis here because we need to have another fleet because we already have like 6 up.
Yeah,
There's
bombers. We haven't even formed
we
bomber
need
off
more
yet.
dudes. All right, well, we got...
me today.
Yeah, thanks for coming, guys, and thanks for
thanks,
watching, despite being on StratOps, and we're going to go make some more fleets such that everybody has a chance to enjoy some
Yeah, I'm going to go blow shit up.
tie-dye.
Yep, bye, guys.
Booyah.
You are about to receive messages that may be harmful to your mental state. Your sense of reality will be questioned. Your view on things will be altered. You are now part of the meta. The meta controls everything. The meta determines what will and will not happen. You are watching the Meta Show.